So you feel like you might have hurt somebody's feelings or hurt them. Some people don't actually show feelings very well, do they? I know some people actually don't have feelings. Not true. But you're afraid you hurt them and you do know their personality, so you're wondering what they're going to do. How are they going to respond? Well, we can only look at stereotypes, my personal experience, because I'm the one talking, other people who have told me things, and we can go from there to make the assumption. Because this is a person that you have hurt, or vice versa, whatever the situation, you're just curious what may or most likely may happen. So, here we go. Let's get the scary ones out of the way first. ESTJs. Well, if they haven't sent you some sort of legal notice, then you might be in the ghosting territory. If they vanish, that's kind of dangerous because, well, now they know everything about you and they may know other people who could hurt. So depending on how bad you screwed up, I'd be very wary of this personality type. They will never forget, and they know. Okay, ISFJ. Now they're very difficult to hurt. Their emotions are very tank-like. They just see the best in people typically. So ISFJs are probably the best when it comes to, quote unquote, being hurt or, this thing. So I would not worry about hurting an ISFJ because they're usually very emotionally mature naturally. So they have that sage-like perspective, at least in my experience. Not every ISFJ is healthy. And obviously you got to take that with a grain of salt for every personality type. I mean, are they healthy or unhealthy? Will they lash out and attack you? Okay. How bad did you screw up? What did you do? All right. The ESFP. Now we're probably going to gossip. We're going to probably attack your reputation. If you freaking screw up, we're going to tell everybody. And yeah, your reputation is on the line. So I would make amends very quickly with an ESFP because they will see your side very quickly if you apologize very quickly. Don't forget they're FI parents, so they feel the need, same with the ENFP, to get their opinions across, their feelings across, just like I do for you on all my videos. So you can correct them very quickly early on. Otherwise, there is the NE demon spiral that happens with the ESFP, and they will get paranoid, OCD, and you got to stop the spiral. Cut the weed out, pull the weed out before it gets worse. So that's how you handle ESFP drama. All right, who's next? INFP drama, it doesn't really go that far. They may have not they'll remember to a point, but it's they don't really, it's hard to phase an INFP really because they'll change, something later on, or they might not even remember. At least in my experience, there's not really a devastating thing that you can really hurt an INFP long term with. If you sincerely meant to hurt, that's different. So anyway, INTPs, they have this really deep side. So being FE aspirational and FI demon, if you hurt an INTP, yeah, that goes really deep. And they're mature enough that if you bring it up, they'll forgive you. There is this memory involved though. They will remember. And they may bring it up at times where it would hurt because they can be very blunt, but they're usually on the ISFJ mature side, at least in my experience. And I have definitely hurt INTPs. If you're watching, I again apologize. Now, remember that sincerity plays a huge part of this. You really got to make sure that you're doing what you can to fix what you did. Whatever it is you did, right? Okay. Hopefully this is a fun video that you're liking this. So ISFPs. This one you got to be really scary about because they're very much like the other SFP type, like I mentioned, and they will also spiral because they don't know. And because they don't know, they can get very paranoid. ISFPs are very intimidated by, scared about you hurting their reputation. That's why SFP types attack reputation because that's where we are hurt the most because a lot of the value that we portray is on the outside. So ISFPs can very easily be hurt. ISFPs get hurt probably more than any other type. So they're very fickle when it comes to this kind of sensitivity. How do you fix an ISFP? Fix your thing with your ISFP. It's very difficult because not only there has to be sincerity, but you have to almost keep on checking that was okay until it is literally forgiven and under the bridge. And you really got to be on the same page with an ISFP because they can change their perspective of you very, very, very fast. I do not rely upon the reputation with an ISFP. It is built on the sand. So I'd be very careful. If you're out of their circle, you are not really back in that circle almost ever, at least in my experience. So that's a tough one. That's a really tough one. If you have a problem with that, I am being messaged about ISFPs behind the scenes, and that's been a unique one lately. Yeah. Okay. ESTP, you got to make it good, bro, but they'll keep bringing it up to neg you and kind of poke you. They're really prickly. So ESTPs, it's kind of like whatever, bro, but yeah, I know what you did. They know. They definitely know. ENTPs, there is a level of hurt, even though they know, they just move on to something else. And that's a nice thing about ENTPs because they will move on to something else, but they'll forget as well. So there's a nice okay. It's a looming almost eerie thing with an ENTP. In my experience, they don't really take the emotional side too far. FI blind, FE, child. It's very childish, not a very thing, but a very big deal. Okay, this is the emotional side of hurting somebody, not any other way. There's plenty of ways to hurt. We should probably clarify that in the beginning. ENFJs, they're usually someone getting hurt. So it's unlikely that they will do something at least deliberately to hurt, ask for forgiveness versus, permission. But ENFJs will usually talk to everybody that they know to make sure that what they did was okay and to get everybody's opinion on something. ENFJs rarely ever take, their own stuff first because they're FE dominant. So they will, talk to everybody they know. I mean, everybody about their opinion, and make you feel that you're the only one that they're confiding in when really they're talking to every single person on the planet, especially the people that they trust in their very inner circle, which is not, it's a very gray line. ESFJs have a much clearer inner circle, so they're going to do the same thing, only on more of a selective basis, if at all. ESFJs are fantastic at keeping secrets. So heads up on ESFJ secrets. That could be a different video. You can trust an ESFJ, I think, to a point. Everybody's human, but if they get hurt, they're going to, it's almost like the ISFP because that's their parallel pair, but opposite, right? Outer letters are flipped. Okay, getting too deep. Who am I missing? ISTP, like you're out, like you're done. ISTP, don't hug them. Don't even, apologize if you got to. I hugged an ISTP once, and I kind of regret it, because that's how I wanted to convey my apology, and they were like standoffish, and if anything else, they'll remember the ickiness to which a hug. It was awkward. You ever hugged an ISTP? It's kind of, you have to at least be their personal partner to be allowed to hug them. If you're not, then, you're out. So ENFPs, I mentioned like with the EFP earlier, with the ESFP, they will hurt reputation. ENFPs, for some reason, they do not stand up for people that they believe in out of privacy. So for example, if somebody's bashing on somebody that the ENFP knows, the ENFP typically takes the side of the basher. I don't know why that is. I have seen that many times. And rarely do they stand up and say, that's not okay, bro. That's not okay. You don't talk bad about this person. They won't typically stand up. I have not seen an ENFP really do that, and generally speaking. They usually just like, yeah, I know. I can't believe they did that, bro. And they just kind of go with it. They don't like confrontation, so the ENFPs just kind of get sucked into the gossip. That's an unfortunate thing. So relying on one to protect your reputation, I would not trust an ENFP with reputation because they want a good reputation, so they try to be on everybody's good side, and sometimes that just puts them in a hole again. So ENFPs feel the weight of the world. Okay, so that's ENFs, ISFs. Oh, the INFJ. Oh man, there are so many layers to get forgiveness with an INFJ. It's ridiculous. There's the INFJ door slam we talked about many times. I've done some big fancy YouTube videos if you want to check those out about the INFJ door slams with the pink shirt videos, just type in pink shirt, whatever. But INFJs have layers to forgiveness. That is like, it's digging a tunnel that, the worse you dig, the more you dig, the worse it gets. So it's just best not to hurt an INFJ in the beginning. And if you do, very, very quickly, try to make amends very quickly if you can, but they will remember. They're SI demon. So they've already categorized and built an entire spider web about how you hurt them. And then somehow they may have like an inkling of forgiveness because they do want to see the best in somebody. Being anti-dominant, they have that like, oh, I know they can change factor. But once there is a real burn, INFJs hold on to that burn pretty hard because they're a locking personality type. They're a J type, and they hold it inside, and they're a feeler type and introverted. So it's just layer on layer on layer on layer with INFJs. That's a scary one, and I'm sorry that they have to deal with that. So a lot of INFJs here in the channel. If you're there, shout out. If you have any insights about how you can get forgiveness with your type, whatever type you are, how you've been hurt and how you had given forgiveness or had that removed, whatever the case. I'm curious if I'm accurate with all of these because not everybody's the same, but these are my experiences with these types. I think I personally, just like a regular human, have had experiences, positive and negative, with almost every single type. And we're all human. And if we're really trying to sincerely, make amends, I think that's one of the most noble things you can do because, the end is coming. Let me tell you a little secret somebody told me about life. You're not going to make it out alive. So it's best to live without guilt. And if you have any issues with anybody, do your best to fix that. And if you've been a victim in something, which I have been, there's a lot of heaviness there. It's really tough to give the forgiveness because trying to get revenge or holding on to a grudge, as they say, this is really good, listen up, is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. That is what holding on to a grudge actually is. Because they probably don't even know, especially if you were the one that was hurt in this case. So maybe we need to do a video on that. But this is like, what do they do, What are they going to do? My thoughts on that. Anyway, hope you had a good day. I'm not sure if you watch these long ones. If you do, send me a, put in the comments, the emoji for this one is a pickle. If you made it to the end.